Hello and welcome to the 1990 series. My name's Amanda O'Shea from the Serendipity Experience, and I have with me today wonderful guest, Rabbi Shaul Rosenblatt from Belmont, or today is in Belmont, Northwest London. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm doing great, and I'm looking forward to spending the time here.
Hey, this is the 90 little conversations with 90 fabulous people over 90 days. People
Great.
that have been part of my journey, and the reason you popped into my head was I was looking through the list of people that it would be great to have a conversation with, and the joy that I get from listening to you and Aaron Turner, from when, especially being at the London conference, the Three Principles London conference, you've just always stood out in my memory. So I thank you for that, for all the joy that you bring to the conference and to the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Sure, pleasure. If I can just say, that's a real that conference is a real example for me of kind of sort of being in the moment and what comes out when you are in the moment, because there's kind of a lot of people sort of say the same thing to you as you do, and in particular kind of people say, oh, it's so we lighten up the conference and we're so funny and so humorous. And sort of every year for the past few years, I've walked in on a Sunday morning and everybody's telling me, oh, I'm really looking forward to your humor today. And I'm thinking to myself, I haven't got any humor today. I haven't got any jokes. I've got nothing there. I've got, and I often kind of get all tense about it. Am I going to be funny? I'm not going to be funny. I'm going to disappoint everybody. It's quite funny what kind of goes on in your head.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of get up there and just get started, and just the feeling in the audience and the feeling in the room, we get really relaxed and really comfortable, and it just kind of flows, it just kind of comes out. I don't even feel it's coming from me at times. It's just sort of, the moment is providing for me something to give to others. So, and I see that so clearly in those conferences.
Yeah, and it's so it's so joyful, isn't it? And it's so,
Oh, yeah.
Anybody who's watching this and doesn't know what we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
it's the London conference where people who are interested or people that are sharing the three principles understanding come together and gather, and there's lots of speakers, especially from all over the world, but especially from the States. All the guys from the States come and visit, and I think that's such a big, such a great thing. People have read lots of their books and people have got to know them online, and suddenly to see them, and then you guys get up there and you do this kind of double act, right? You and Aaron. That is just what it's like, isn't it?
Are you putting the pressure on again?
And I love it because it is so, there's something. Do you believe you're funny, or have you been told?
Well, I'll tell you one thing is I just love doing it. I really love doing it. I really love kind of getting up there and sharing and being there. And part of the reason I love it is just, it's the beautiful atmosphere in the room. People say that we kind of help create that, but I don't think we do. I think we feed off it more than create it.
Right.
I think it's there. I think it's just there in the human beings. I think it's a group of human beings, 1,000 people coming together just with open hearts and with a feeling of warmth. And you can't beat that. Yeah. How could you not, if you're in that room, how could you not kind of get up there and share openly? And yeah, I guess so. I guess, there is kind of some humor that comes out. And I do think me and Aaron do well sort of playing off each other. I think we've been compared to, what's their names? Oh, come on, I don't really watch it, but everybody, Anton Deck. I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
People told me that, and I thought, okay, I've got to watch, which one is it? It's not Britain's Got Talent, it's the other one. X Factor, is it? Yeah, I got to watch X Factor just to see these Anton Deck guys. So maybe I can learn a thing or two, But yeah, it's great. It's great just to be yourself. And I don't think you can beat being yourself.
Yeah.
I think if you bring to something yourself and nothing else, I think that's more than enough.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? It's the authenticity.
Yeah.
That people you know, that people really it's what lands on people is the
Exactly.
authenticity. Have
Exactly.
you been part of the organising the London conference since the very first one? Have you
Since
been?
the very beginning, absolutely.
So
I've been there.
that was a huge thing. I've only been there the last few years.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
we started 10 years ago, 11 years ago now. And it was just an idea we kind of had of like, you know, let's just bring in a couple of speakers. The first conference was only Linda Pransky and Linda and George and Kathy Casey. That was it. Those were our speakers. I don't think even Aaron was at the first conference. And we, you know, we said, let's throw it out there and see what happens. And 120 people came. We were shocked.
wow.
But it was a heartwarming shock to kind of feel that there's so much interest and so much openness there. And it was quite funny because Linda had never really kind of given public talks before like this. So so she we had her and Kathy in the breakouts, and 125 people went to Linda. 115 people went to Linda, and only 5 went to Kathy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was going to run into Linda and say, please, some more people come out. And Kathy was like so okay with it, you know. She was like, no, it's great, a small audience, and it's more intimate, and it really was, you know. It was exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things with these speakers is their humility and the only interest in sharing, you know, and what they have. And if somebody else can share better, that's fine too. And if people are interested in listening to somebody else, they don't need to be the ones to do it. That's another thing that I love is the speakers at the conference, you know, again, who come with such a willingness, such an openness, I remember Mark Howard said to me a couple of years ago, I had a conversation with him about coming to the conference, and I said to him, look, you know, we've got a lot of speakers this year, and I don't know if we can give you a plenary spot, but we'll certainly, you know, give you a couple of breakouts to do, you know, because you have a lot to offer. And he wrote back to me and he said, you know, I just love being of service and being at these conferences. He says, I'll come, and if you've got nothing for me to do, that's fine too. Yeah. You know, I just want to be there and share it with you. And I think that just that attitude is really beautiful. It's really touching.
And it's been, I mean, you guys, you know, in the sort of northwest London area, it seems to be that this, I don't know how long it's really been, or, you know, I know that the Rubensteins, you know, when they first, when Terry and Brian and those guys sort of started talking about this, and slowly, but you must have seen it ripple out, especially amongst the Jewish community.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
And that's always a question, isn't it, that people ask about, oh, there's like, is this something Jewish? Because
that's right, exactly.
But I've always been curious with that too. I had a conversation with Sue Latchman, like, why is it, do you think, Sue, that the Jewish community really have this is like second nature? And she said something like it's like a hand and a glove.
Yeah, I like that way of putting it. Exactly. I think it's this is so much a part of our tradition, and yet the way our community stands nowadays, it's so lacking in our society. And so there's a yearning for it. People are looking for it. People are desperate for something that will speak to them spiritually, that will speak to them neutrally, that will speak to them about something deeper. The Jewish community is constantly seeking something deeper, something more. I think that's to some extent, you know, we Jews have sort of been pretty successful in the world, sort of wherever we've gone. And I think that's why I think we're never satisfied. We're looking for something more. We're looking for something deeper. It's just in the nature of our society. And this speaks to it in just such a little glove-like way, you know, that absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I first, I kind of landed up really by accident at Pransky & Associates 16 years ago now, and which is a story in itself, but we haven't got time for it. And I saw something, and I saw something very quickly. And I saw something that resonated with me, and I saw something that was so consistent with my values and with sort of my philosophy and my understanding as a Jew, and the way I saw the world in that way. And I came back and I just felt, boy, I got to get this out there. And initially it was, I've got to get this out there to my community, because, you know, I'm a rabbi, and Jewish education is my thing, and that's what I was about. So I felt great. And so I started a class, and actually Tay Rubenstein was one of the first people in that class. She's one of the first people that came along, and it resonated with her pretty quickly as well. And then kind of as we started, you know, I'd never had a thought in my mind to broaden what I was offering beyond the Jewish community. Just it wasn't kind of the way I saw the world at that point in time. And then as I started to realize just how universal these ideas are, and just how broad they are, and just how appealing they are to anybody and everybody, I felt like, well, if we're going to do this anyway, why wouldn't we want to open it up to as many people as possible? And so that's sort of the dichotomy almost that you've seen, the tension that you've seen between us being a Jewish organization and yet showing it to a broader audience. And as time's gone on, we've recognized, you know what, people do get confused. So let's try and keep it as simple as possible. You know, let's try, even though there's a lot of Jewish people there, let's try and make it as neutral as possible.
Yeah.
I know people, I think, are often sort of scared of religion, and I understand that. I do understand that. There's a fear of sort of structure, and even within the three principles, people ask, well, how can religion work with the three principles? You know, the three principles is all about being yourself, and having your own wisdom, and making your own judgments on a moment-to-moment basis as to what makes sense. How do you fit that in with structure? And certainly when it comes to Judaism, there's a massive amount of structure in Judaism. So I think to keep it simple, we've kind of tried to, you know, keep this over here and this over here, and there the twain shall meet to whatever extent possible. And I think we're, you know, starting to do that more.
And I also think it can actually enhance our own experience of the religion that we were maybe born into, or that we've chosen. Because when we get to see that rituals and things are all, yeah, they are just those, we can almost enjoy them more.
Yes.
We can see them for where they came from, as opposed to fighting them.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I would put it like you're watching television in black and white, and then you get this, and it makes it into color.
Yeah.
Now, it's the same thing. It's the same pictures. It's the same film. It's the same whatever. But it's very different when it's in color and when it's in black and white. Yeah. It's a much richer experience. And that's what I've seen with my religion. It enriched it. It has deepened it. It has given me a deeper sense of feeling and connection behind it.
Great.
And I think that's why it appeals to a lot of sort of religious Jews as well, because they know there's something there. They know there's something rich within their heritage and their tradition, but they're not seeing it and they're not finding it. It's very frustrating for them.
Yeah, sure.
And now you add another element, and all of a sudden they're like, now I get it. Okay, now I kind of see what that's all about.
I remember hearing a story that somebody, somebody said that they'd been studying, or they'd been at class, or they'd been for such a long time, and this introduction to the principles helped them see everything that they tried to that they tried to find in the book, as it were.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, I see that when I'm teaching nowadays, or when I write a weekly what would you call it? Just a weekly piece on the portion. Every week in synagogue we read a portion of the Bible, a different portion. So I write a thought, an idea, a piece of wisdom on that portion. And I've seen over the years, as the principles just sort of shapes my view of the world, shapes the way I see the world, I see more and more of it coming out in that, just naturally. It's not that I sit and I say, okay, well, let's see how I can bring the three principles into this understanding. It's just there. It's like I'll write something and I'll look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm teaching the three principles there, but I'm teaching the Bible's understanding, but the two are one, and they just synergize so nicely.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's beautiful because it's like, okay, it's the underlying, I see it like the underlying of all religions. I remember one of the, I remember one of the favorite talks I went to was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe it's 2 years ago, where you did a talk where you had the Jewish,
Yeah, that's right.
and the Muslim.
That's right. That was fascinating. Exactly. That was great.
Yeah.
That was great. And you sort of see just how much we have in common. Instead of kind of looking at the differences are superficial.
Yeah.
Commonalities are deep.
Yeah.
But because we kind of walk around looking at the superficialities, it looks like there's a lot of differences.
It's so true, actually. I see that, Shaul, in where I work here in the recovery center, is that when I first came in, I thought that I was a kind of alternative to the traditional 12-step program, or an alternative. And when I got to see, oh no, let's look at the similarity. Look at the similarities. There's actually, we're saying the same thing in different ways, maybe coming from different model, fear models, health models, whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, mostly what we're saying is the same. And that really helped me, rather than seeing it, because at the beginning I was so eager to share what I had seen.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not that way, it's this,
Until
that kind of mellowed, and you see, no, right, I don't know where that came from. No, this is a beautiful program. This is great. I just think that I've got something else to complement it.
Absolutely.
To, like you said, bring it into color, bring it the richness. There's something about that. It makes it richer. It's like having a soup and then you add cream to the soup.
Yeah.
Rich.
Absolutely.
That's what we say in Spain. We say something muy rico. Like it's a richness to it. It's a depth to it. It's got that taste. And I love that. I love that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you so much for being part of the 90 and 90 series. The richness that you guys bring, and the fun that you have with it, and the fun that everybody has is like the best virus in town. It's like the love virus,
That's great.
It's really it's contagious. It's infectious.
Great.
That's what happens when you've got like 1,000 people in the room. It's and people where maybe more than half of those people, maybe 70% of the people, have already been touched by this, so they're excited. It's like, so that
that's right.
It's beautiful.
And thank you to you for sort of doing this and taking the time and sharing it with the world. I'm always grateful when people are looking to contribute, because we all benefit when others kind of contribute. So thank you.
That's right. Thank you. And I guess it's like paying back or paying forward or whatever. It's just happening. The idea popped in my head, and now here we are. And if one person watches this little video from today and hears something that gets them intrigued, that they go and have a look at another website, or up to the London conference, or one person, then that's good enough, right?
That's great. That's great. And 39 to go.
Mr. 51. So
absolutely.
I love it. It's great. So we're down now. We're
You're over the hump. You're over the hump.
I love that. Just a little boom.
That's right. Exactly.
You can't help yourself.
Yeah.
The funny guy. But part of the double act. I love it. Look forward, Shaul, to seeing you when I'm next looking at you, and lots of love to you all over there.
Yeah, you too. And
London posse, keep it.
Absolutely. And I look forward to seeing you maybe in June at the conference.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope
God
so.
willing.
Yeah.
And keep up your great work. It's wonderful to work with people who are suffering like that, and to really try and alleviate suffering. It's such important work, and kudos to you for all that you do.
Oh, it is. And we're starting that and bringing the iHeart training into Spain in January.
Oh, fabulous.
So that's Spain on the list as well now. So
excellent.
Training up there'll be 13 people at the training.
Wow,
So,
fantastic.
you know, here we go again, just sort of
Fantastic.
touching Europe.
Wow, fabulous, fabulous. Well, that's
Yeah.
amazing, and it's been a pleasure to spend the time with you. Thank you.
Lots of love to you. Take
Okay,
care.
see you, and bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.